The Ohio and Indiana Bar Associations require that we give the addresses of the attorneys on the show. Today we have an attorney and a doctor with us today. Dr. Jason Moore, the president of Mission Clinics International. His information is right there. And of course, as always, Don Moore and Dan Moore, the Moore Law Firm, moorelaw.com. You can get all the information at fox19.com. Just click on Moore Law. Today, of course, we are talking about medicine and the law, and you had some information that you thought would be valuable for the viewers.
Yeah, thank you, Deb. Really, this is something a lot of people don't know. If you have a simple car wreck, it's very simple. Somebody runs into you and you get hurt, you cannot just take that case to court without a doctor. You have to have a doctor's testimony. And we have a little graphic here, and basically a doctor has to testify, one, the wreck caused the injury. If they don't establish a causal connection, no case. Two, that the treatment was necessary. If you went to, let's say, a massage therapist and pool therapy and a bunch of other stuff, and the doctor won't say that it was necessary, then it doesn't count, it doesn't get to the jury. And three, the bills were reasonable. That is, the amount that was charged were reasonable. That is, whatever your doctor charged, somebody's got to testify that that was a reasonable amount, customary for this area. We have another actual graphic here that I'd like for you to see, because this is something, I've got a case going right now, we're preparing to go to trial, and we sent to the doctor and said, okay, what are you going to charge us to help us out in this case? We need your testimony to say that this guy was hurt really bad in this motorcycle accident. It doesn't matter that it's clear, we've got to have a doctor testify to it. And what he told us was that a court appearance is $5,000 a day for his time, plus expenses, that to review the records, it's $1,000 an hour. If I want to talk to him basically for a few minutes just to find out what he's going to say, phone conference, $1,000 an hour. Deposition, meeting or the deposition itself, $1,000 an hour. We don't have a choice, and a jury never gets to know that. So I thought people would be interested in that. Those are some of the behind-the-scenes costs of a lawsuit and the requirements of the rules of evidence that a person who's been injured has to prove in order to make their case.
That's an incredible amount of money.
It is.
It sure seems like it to me.
Well, it did me too, but this is, it's current events. I got this last week, okay. And I cleaned it up, took the doctor's name off and stuff because he's not on the show, but it's not all that unusual. Right. I mean, basically, it's expensive.
Okay. All right, well, let's see if we can, we have a couple more calls to get to. Let's start with Teresa. Teresa, you had some issues with a tumor and a hernia, is that right?
Yes.
Could you tell me a little bit about what happened?
Yeah, they were removed, and when they put in a big tube of Kugel-Warm mesh, and then the mesh came unraveled, and my nerve endings have wrapped all around the ends of the mesh to the point where now I'm disabled. I'll never work again. I was wondering about the statute of limitation as far as filing a claim.
All right, Don?
Okay, well, there's a lot of Kugel mesh cases. That is, you fit into a category with a lot of people. There's technical things, there's a thing called mass torts, and that's where there's a lot of people injured by a single product or single fact circumstance, and there are lawyers who collect bunches of those. That's something that, and you hear them advertising on TV all the time. Frankly, the mass torts, when there's consolidated litigation, it makes it much easier for people to bring a case because the courts will consolidate all the discovery and the legal technical stuff that's got to be done. Because that's a product the way it is, my suggestion is that you get legal advice immediately with respect to statute of limitations on a product's liability claim. On the product itself, 2 years. For the doctor, if you feel the doctor did something wrong, 1 year. And there are some technical things about when you should have known and when you could have known. So it's real tricky. That's something you just can't, I can't give you one size fits all answer. That's something you need to talk to a lawyer and get specific advice.
Okay. All right, let's go to another call. We have Tracy from Ohio. A question about a hip replacement.
Yes. I had a hip replacement in November 2012. I still have a limp when I first stand up. There's redness to the outer area of my hip, and the incision is closed. And I also have a new bone growing in. Is that normal for a hip replacement?
Is that something that you've heard of, Jason?
Well, that sounds like that's still maybe within the realm of a normal post-operative recovery from a surgery for a hip replacement. Ultimately, that falls in the realm of an orthopedic surgeon who did that surgery. You know, my recommendation on that would be just to continue to follow up with your orthopedic surgeon and see if that's something that you know, that he or she would recommend any further action, or maybe you need to have it checked out personally by another doctor. But I think the first thing would be just to continue with your surgeon for post-operative follow-up. But overall, it sounds like it may still be within the realm of a normal recovery period because it was a fairly recent surgery.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for being with us today.
It was a pleasure.
To talk about medicine and the law.
Sure.
And next week up, we have talking to the public defender, and I believe, let's see, Hamilton County Public Defender Ray Fowler will be here, and he'll be taking your questions.
Excellent, excellent. That's going to be an interesting call. I used to do that a long time ago.
Okay, great. And then the next couple of weeks, you see traffic accidents and then crime and punishment. For now, that's all we have here on More Law. We'll see you next Monday morning.